What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? See the people in the chat trying to rush me. You can't rush greatness. You can't rush greatness. What up to the people? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all in the building. To all of my friends and family, what's happening? What would y'all do if y'all didn't see me? Huh? What would you do if I just disappeared for like 2 weeks with no notification or whatever? That's how you truly know whether or not people love you or not, is whether they'll research you, try to figure out what's going on, all of that other type of stuff. Luckily for you, me being here on the Millionaire Morning Show is about as sure as bet as Floyd Mayweather winning in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? What up to the people? I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest group of people on the face of this earth. Is my audio correct? Is my audio right? Y'all let me know if my audio is good. I see somebody in the chat saying fix your audio. Is my audio not good? Y'all let me know whether or not my audio is making sense right now. See, we might have one of them shows because the people acting out today. They acting like they ain't got no home training. Audio is all good, Provin? I'm good. I'm Gucci. Audio was good, Vicky. All right. Well, then I guess it's time to cook up. All right. What do y'all? What be wrong with y'all stuff? Y'all got to get y'all car speakers fixed or something like that. Cause it ain't me. It ain't me. It's you. It ain't me. It's you. Y'all got to get your car speakers fixed or something. First and foremost, I want to give an acknowledgement to the people that hold the platform down. Mike, that dude, I appreciate you. And ESDC, happy birthday again. Shout out to my daughter. I want to give a special acknowledgement to my daughter, the princess of everything that I'm building here. Les, I love you. I appreciate you. You are the most phenomenal daughter ever. I can't wait to get home to see you today. Usually, you know what's so funny about that is that usually when you start thinking about things, you start thinking about life differently and things like that. You take the long way home, you start to be a little bit more cautious, you're not as reckless. 17 years old. 17. 17 years ago today, I was in the hospital and I picked up my daughter and I looked at her, you know, the same way that the Lion King had looked at Simba. I looked at her. I picked her up just like this. And I looked at her and I was like, that's me. That's all me right there. And I made a declaration that day. And I've told her this story over and over again. Yesterday we were sitting and we was chilling, and she was telling me about how good Drake was. Dad, Draco, he said this lyric and all of this stuff. And so she's super into music, super into sports, and super into cars. Literally the exact same as me. She's telling me and all of this stuff. And so I'm telling him, like, Les, so crazy that you're 17 years old today. And then she was like, Dad, I hear you, but I need to go through your pockets. I said, what do you need to go through my pockets for? Because I need some cash. I don't have no cash on me. I said, you already got your allowance this month. Go and get some cash. No, listen, you already got it. I'm going to just take some. I'm going to just take this amount of money, and I know you got some money. So, yep, jackpot, found it. And so it is. It is absolutely awesome to have a daughter or a child that ultimately make you better. Now, I will say this. Sometimes kids don't make you better. It just reveals who you are. Sometimes you're a scumbag. Sometimes kids don't make you better because you're not declaring that you're going to be a better version. You're just a scumbag already. So for those of y'all that think that y'all can just go and have a bunch of kids and you're going to transform into a great person, you're not. You're just going to be more of what you already are. But it unleashed me, right? And I will also say this, having a child, for those of you that are childless, don't feel bad. It is very, 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 and when I say very, I mean very expensive. It is very expensive. Raising a child is not. The way that children were raised back in the day was not conducive. That's why y'all all screwed up right now. Most of the problems that you're complaining about, whether it's women complaining about men and men complaining about women, can be traced back to the massive F up that your parents were. I know that y'all say, oh, they did the best that they could. We was on Section 8. We was born in the ghetto and all of this other stuff. That's not good for a child. That's not good for a child. As you get older, as you get richer, you get smarter and wiser, and you realize that it takes a significant amount of resources for you to put into your children. So don't be confused. Don't be misconstrued in thinking that you can have a lot of children, because as we get into this show today, the first story that we're going to revisit is the Oakland County mother who was now arrested, and we got her sister-in-law talking crap about her and all of this stuff. Everybody is not fit to be a parent, okay? And even if you are fit to be a parent, you may not want to suffer through what it takes to suffer and sacrifice in order to have children. We have been bamboozled. Having children is a blessing, but only if it makes sense, because some of y'all legacy, if it was tied to your children, then you would have a trash legacy because your children is trash. Your parents may be trash because you trash. Some of us don't realize how trash we really are, and that we make our legacy look bad. And for whatever reason, you think that you can do whatever you want to do when you want to do it, and that's just supposed to be reflected good on society when you die, because everybody gonna say, oh, they were a good person. No, you was trash, your mama's trash, y'all passing down intergenerational trauma, and it's not good for society. So for people that choose not to have children and say, you know what, I just want to live my life and I want to do good in society, I think that you guys are absolutely awesome. Also, I want to give y'all a round of applause. Real talk. Real talk. I think that you guys are awesome. Also, you guys are phenomenal. Trust me, it is hard. It is the ultimate sacrifice. And you will put your life on hold for 17, 18, 24, 25. I don't expect for my daughter to really ever leave the house. And so that is the sacrifice that I was willing to make. And we thought that out. We had that conversation way before we had her. We said, listen, we okay with not having children, but if we're going to have one, we're going to have one. And if we're going to have one, we're going to put everything we can into them to make sure that they are the phenomenal person that they are. And I am very, very, very satisfied with the results. So again, with that being said, I want to say happy birthday to my baby girl who turned 17 today. I love you. I appreciate you. I cannot in any way, shape, or form think of any way that I could have done it any differently better to where you would have turned out any better than you are today. We love you. We appreciate you. We know that you appreciate your parents. And it has been one of the greatest blessings. And I will also tell you this. The same way that my daughter motivated me to get rich when she was born is the same way that she's motivating me now to be healthier. She is probably one of the healthiest people that I've ever met in my entire life. Talk about raising a phenomenal kid. She is one of the healthiest people that I've ever met in my entire life. And so now she's my inspiration to live as long as possible. Ain't that crazy? The thing that motivated you then gave you a second win to say, you know what? Everything, putting everything on the shelf, no more trash food, working out every day. She's my inspiration and my motivation, not only for how she lives her life, but because I want to live as long as possible to see her grow into being a phenomenal woman, even past 17 years old. So again, we got to find motivation in the things that are great in our life. One of the greatest things in my life. I love you. I appreciate you. You are one of the most phenomenal human beings that I've ever seen walk this earth. Leslie, I absolutely love you as your father, not as a content creator, not as Anton from AntonDaniels.com, not as one of the people that your friends always want to say, oh, can I see what he working on? Can I see him? Put him on FaceTime. Put him on FaceTime. I FaceTime countless of your friends. Shout out to all of your friends. Shout out to all of your friends' parents. And shout out to everybody that's a part of the Taekwondo club that has helped to shape you and mold you into who you are today. You are phenomenal. I love you. I appreciate you. You are the greatest thing ever. All right. All right. Y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Let's get started. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to go ahead and hit you with prayer. Shout out to Molly. Molly will be on After Hours tonight. Says, happy birthday to the beautiful ladies in your life. For real, for real. It's been awesome. AR Smitty says, happy birthday, Les. Shout out to the girl dads. Girl dads are great. Gerald Davis says, aloha from Hawaii. Hawaii, AD. Starting my day here, just a thought. Instead of possibly giving Doge refund, what about fixing public school infrastructure so that the future generations are prepared? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Also, and thank you, Gerald Davis. Thank you to everybody that contributed to the platform. I did drop a Patreon exclusive video. So if you are a part of the Bag Chasers, if you are a part of the Patreon and you have not watched that video, it is too much game and information that leapfrog off of the information that we talked about prior to me dropping the video today. All right. So we got the Patreon exclusive video that dropped today. We have a block club that's coming up this weekend. I am going to give you guys all of the sauce and all of the formulas leapfrogging off of the last block club. So watch the last block club of what it takes to not just to build, but to how you calculate what your profit margins are going to be and what you should be charging when you decide to buy these properties, rent these properties, build these properties, and then put a tenant in it. All right. I'm going to go through everything, how I vet the people, how I've never had turnover, what my pricing is, what my profit margins are, and how many properties that I plan on building and or buying and investing in order to meet a certain threshold that basically takes over everything as far as that being the most profitable venture that I have going on, despite me releasing the Patreon video today showing you exactly what I generated in content creation. So if you guys are not a part of the Patreon, if you have not tapped in to the Discord, which the link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos, you are sorely missing out. Join the Patreon, lock in with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, real life information from somebody that actually do it before I tell you about it. That way I can tell you what to look out for everybody that's trying to sell you a course, never sold a course before, never did any of that. This is just pure game, pure information. Take it and use it accordingly. Stock club, block club, information, mastermind sessions, meetups. We got those coming up. And so it's a phenomenal group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Make sure you tap in. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Let me read a couple of more super chats and then we are going to get started with the show. T Wrights says, happy birthday, baby girl. I'm not crying. I'm cutting onions. Shout out to you. Chris Dub says, Anton, can you bring back the solo monologues? Also, please look at flight crashes from the previous administration. Yep, I'll look at them. I know that there was a flight crash yesterday over in Arizona. Yeah, people were sending that to me yesterday. I didn't focus too much on it because I know that Rita's birthday was yesterday. Leslie's birthday is today. But I still wanted to give y'all the game and the information. And I came into the studio. I started to live stream from home, but I came into the studio because I think this presents and gives you a better experience. All right. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. All right. So the first thing that we do, we got to start off with prayer. Lord, give us what we need to be the best examples to other people. Let us be a reflection of it. Let our light shine based off of what we do, not necessarily what we say. What we say is the cherry on top. It's the example. It's the reinforcing of what we see and what we've done on this earth. Bless us to be a reflection of it. Physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, in every way. Bless us to be covered. Let our lives be commensurate. Let our lives absolutely have parity across the board in all of the sections, right? You can't be great at home and then be trash in your spiritual life. You can't be trash in your spiritual life and then be great when it comes to talking about finances, right? Everything has to align. Otherwise, we know that there's something wrong. You may be rich, but you might have gotten rich doing something that you wasn't supposed to do. But if you have good character and you keep God first and you're spiritual, we know that all good things come to those who serve the Lord. We know that you seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. So we don't have to worry about money. We just worry about being good stewards. We worried about having good character. We pray for wisdom. We make sure that we're consistent. We put our best and our all into everything that we do, and we leave it on the flow. And we know that the money comes with it. The great relationships come with it. The women come with it. The men come with it. The marriage come with it. The good kids come with it. The phenomenal people that you surround yourself come with it. And so bless our life to 100% be aligned across the board. Across the board, we want to have great character. We want to have phenomenal wisdom. We want to be knowledgeable, but we also want to have the wisdom to know how to execute when we get the knowledge, right? We want great children. We want a great group of people around us, great networking, right? We don't want anything to lack. No lack. That's the thing that we asking for today. No lack. Never no lack. In any space, give us the tools and the resources and the ability. Give us the ability to be able to do the things that other people can't do because they're unwilling to make the sacrifice for you and for themselves. We also know that the way that we show that we love you is by treating the people that you put on this earth and the ones that surround us, whether that's giving them the game, being absolutely positively stern, or exemplifying what masculinity is, or actually being a reflection of the thing that we advocate for. We know that the way that we show that we love you, God, is by showing how we love the people that you put around us. It's how we treat our bag chasers. It's how we treat our wives, how we treat our husbands. It's how we really be there for our children. It's our network. It's adding value. It's making sure that you chastise when they need to be chastised, because it's going to make them better, and it's going to make a better future for your children and the people that come after us and the legacy that we leave on this earth. Bless us to make sure that we have no lack in any area of our life so that we can be a reflection of the thing we advocate for. We love you. We appreciate you. We ask for everything in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's get it, y'all. All right. First things first, ladies and gentlemen, I want to revisit a conversation because we weren't originally able to find out exactly who this woman was. We didn't know her name. We didn't know her picture. We didn't know any of that type of stuff. We knew that there were children that were suffering. Let me say that again. We knew that there were children that were suffering. And so the thing that we want to have a conversation first is to revisit, like I said that I was, a woman who obviously didn't meet the expectation for having children, but had more than one and then left them in squalor. This is an update on the story of the woman in Oakland County that basically left their kids to fend for themselves over the last 3 to 4 years, and she was out here making it shake for a real one. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock, y'all.
New charges in one of the most horrific child neglect cases we've seen. An Oakland County mother accused of abandoning her 3 children for years, leaving them physically, mentally, and emotionally traumatized.
At the hospital, the children struggled with completing basic hygiene tasks like flushing a toilet and brushing their teeth because they had not done it in years.
34-year-old Kelly Bryant faces 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. If convicted, she could spend the rest of her life behind bars.
Yeah, this is a case that has shocked Metro Detroit and really the nation. Bryant will be in court for the first time tomorrow. But Jacqueline Francis tonight looking at how we got to this point in the first place. Jacqueline?
That mother, Kelly Bryant, is being held here at the Oakland County Jail. She is set to make her first court appearance in a matter of hours. So let's get you up to speed on how we got here.
It was unbelievable what they were living with for years. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, the word Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald used to describe the situation. It started on Valentine's Day when a landlord called police for a welfare check on a Pontiac home. Inside, they found 3 kids abandoned in deplorable conditions.
Everything was covered with feces and trash.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard broke the news over the weekend and has been providing updates in the days since, saying the kids aged 12, 13, and 15 had been living there alone for years, surviving on weekly drop-offs of food, having no physical contact with their mother or the outside world.
The only one of the 3 that ever came out was the young boy, and he came out twice. Once because he wanted to feel the grass, which by itself is heartbreaking, and a second time to check the mail.
Now come the charges, 3 counts of first-degree child abuse.
If convicted, Ms. Bryant could face a sentence of up to life in prison.
Child Protective Services have placed the 3 siblings in the custody of a family member. With the arraignment set for Thursday, this case and the investigation are far from over.
I guess what stands out the most for me is no love. There was nobody there to care for them for between 3 and 4 years. No parent, nobody physically present to let them know that they were safe and they were loved.
I briefly spoke with the children's grandfather, who is believed to have custody of them at this time. He has no comment. Reporting from...
I'm not really sure that any of those kids is safe in any of the family members' hands, to be honest with you. I mean, what do? Put them in foster care? They 13 and 15 plus years old. They already broken. They already absolutely ruined. They're going to probably have to have a lifetime of therapy if they ever have a chance at being sufficient adults, at being a wife or a husband or ever having kids themselves. I don't know if anybody could fix these kids. Honestly. He came outside twice in 3 to 4 years, once because he wanted to feel grass. Good chance that he probably hurry up and ran back in the house because he didn't feel like he wanted to get in trouble. I mean, this is literally prison. The conditions and the way in which these kids lived were worse than prisoners. I've seen prisoners live better than this. I've seen prisoners live better than this. The question that we have to ask ourselves now, because we already understand that it's going to be a lifetime of pain and a lifetime of issues that's associated with these children. We already know that. That goes without saying. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, and think about it before you answer, and I know that the chat is our co-host, but think about it before you answer. Does she deserve life in prison? I think that this is a conversation that we need to have on After Hours tonight. Does she deserve life for the rest of her natural born life? Probably another 50 years. Does she deserve life in prison? Write notes. Everybody in the chat, most of them says yes. One says no. Millennial Mark TV says absolutely. Some people say she needs to be in a mental health facility. Not life, says Skinny Boy. I can't say that she does. Where were the fathers? That's another question. Praying for Alicia says AD she does because the children will never be okay. Absolutely no. Wood chipper. Okay, for the people that say no, What would you give her if you are the judge in this case? Because this is one of the most difficult cases that you can preside over. If you are the judge in this case, what do you give her if you don't give her life? This is allegedly a former sister-in-law, meaning that she has brothers and sisters or something and siblings. A former sister-in-law reveals more about the Michigan mother who allegedly left her children. Check it out.
We all knew she was a bad parent, but I don't think nobody really realized this was going on.
Charlene Bryant is the former sister-in-law to 34-year-old Kelly Bryant, now facing child abuse charges after investigators say they found 3 of her kids living alone in squalor for several years at this Pontiac townhouse on Lydia Lane. Charlene has not been in contact in years and has loads of questions now.
I just don't know how the family don't know when they were so close.
Let me also say this prior to us going into this tragic story. This right here, this woman right here is the prototype. This is the thing that I be telling people all the time. This woman is the prototype of what a lot of black guys talk to when we talking about the snow bunnies. Now, my white compatriots right now, my white ladies, I know a lot of y'all tune into the Millionaire Morning Show. I want you to understand that nobody is spared from accountability. This is the prototype white woman that a lot of black guys choose to marry and be in a relationship with, and then they pedestalize them to somehow, some way be more submissive than black women. I am telling you. They have tats on their faces. They live in the hood with everybody else. They wear pink and black jerseys. They say that they are submissive. They have y'all kids. They got the Detroit. This is the Detroit, Pontiac, Metro Detroit, Snow Bunny Talk to Black Man starter kit right here. Are we going to be real? I'm telling you that this is the Snow Bunny Black Man starter kit. And I am not a person that ever separate myself based off of identity. I think you should talk to wherever it is that you want to talk to. Go where you celebrate it, not where you tolerate it. If you have a preference for snow bunnies, rock with snow bunnies. If you're a white woman that like black men, do your thing. If you're a black man that like white women, do your thing. Vice versa, all in between. Talk to who you want to talk to. I'm not a gatekeeper for relationships, but I am telling you that this is the starter kit for white women that are talking to black men in a lot of major cities, including all around Metro Detroit. They walk around with them. They go into the dollar store with them. They hold hands. They be kissing. They be having 8 kids, 2 different baby daddies, tattoos on the faces, and they be rocking. I'm telling you, I don't know what they do to y'all. I don't know how y'all fall in love with them. All of them is a good 225 to 262. And I'm not talking about credit scores or anything like that. I'm talking about their weight. All of them is a good 225 to 262, depending on their height. It could range. All right. She's telling you that she's a former sister-in-law. That means that she was married to her brother. Y'all ready to get back? You know I'm gonna look at every single thing, right? Because I know she quick to get on here to talk about whatever it is that she thought that she knew or whatever, so on and so forth. So you want to get on TV, we got to make sure that we address it accordingly. Let's get back to her assessment of her former sister-in-law.
Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald charged Kelly Bryant with 3 counts of child abuse in the first degree, which could mean life in prison if convicted. All of this after police say they found 3 of Bryant's 4 kids, a 15-year-old boy and his 2 sisters, ages 12 and 13, living in horrific conditions.
Her daughters were hiding in a bathroom that was filled with feces, piles of trash, and completely non-functional, while her son was hiding in another room. Police were astonished to find anyone in the location,
because it appeared to be uninhabitable, with piles of garbage and refuse several feet high, including large amounts of human excrement.
The prosecutor says
It's no
Bryant lived
rodent.
at the home with all 4 kids back in 2019, but later moved out, leaving 3 of her children abandoned while one of the kids went to live with their dad. Detectives say the landlord called police to the home, worried for Bryant's welfare after not getting a rent payment since last October.
Yeah, you don't get a rent payment since last October. It's time to do a welfare check. You know what? As a real estate investor, I don't even think that I can invest in a place like this. I believe that a lot of these places be having spirits that's left behind them.
That's when the kids were found, shaken, scared, and covered in feces, according to the prosecutor.
Honestly, I thought the grandmother was taking care of the children.
That's the last you heard.
Yeah, that's the last. You went 4 or 5 years without seeing your grandchildren. There was no questions.
We stopped by the Pontiac home of Bryant's extended family, where the police eventually took the kids. We wanted to talk to the adults. Hi, how are you?
No, sir, no comment.
Is there anything you'd like to say, sir? No comment given there. We also searched Bryant's Facebook page, which was easy to find and not set to
Oh my God. She out here living her best life. You know, somebody has sent me her Facebook page and I started to add it, but then I have to be responsible with my platform. And I didn't know if this was the actual real person. Everybody had been saying that it was the real person, but you never know. And so you have to be careful, because when you start to get a really decent sized platform, you want to be responsible. You don't want to just implicate somebody that has nothing to do with this just because a whole bunch of people said it. But this is what I seen. This is what I seen. Living their best life, thick in the thighs, slim in the hips. You know what it is.
We also searched Bryant's Facebook page, which was easy to find and not.
Y'all know what it, listen, prototype right there. That's the prototype. That's what y'all like. Don't you sit here and lie to me. This is what y'all like. This is what these guys are going for every single day. I wouldn't be surprised if she'd have sent Q a DM and said, I want to be on Monday Night Show because I need to let these guys know that they not doing what they supposed to do, and I want them to be there for their kids. I have no doubt in my mind that Q, if you went through and you scrolled through your DMs, you might have seen her in there trying to ask to be on the show on a Monday night. 100%, this is the prototype of the women that y'all deal with every single day. Think about this the next time that y'all run into one of these women and you say, hey, baby girl, can I pump your gas? Hey, love, can I pump your gas? Because you got a lot of trash in the back of that. Doop. The next time y'all see them at floods in Detroit, that's where they be at, floods, when they start to age out and then they show up at floods because they got a whole lot of kids at home. And in your local bar, the equivalent of what floods is in Detroit. Some of y'all may not be familiar with floods. The people that's from Detroit, you know what floods is. You know who you're going to find there. You're going to find her. For the people that see this woman at your local watering hole within your cities, ask yourself this question. How many kids do you have and who's feeding them right now? That's the number one question that I want to hear from y'all. Because we already know that you got a 97% chance of her being a single mother. That is just a fact. That just is what it is. Don't sit here and get offended. Everybody gonna catch smoke today. Everybody being held accountable on the Millionaire Morning Show today. We don't want to know how many you got alone. We want to know who's feeding them right now. You're over here on Pop the Balloon. Boop, boop, boop. Keep talking about people's shoes. I don't like his aesthetic. His fit, not what I thought it was supposed to be. I don't know if you really match my style. I like to be here in these streets. I like to try. What do you like to do? Single ladies. Meet new mother. What do you like to do for fun? I like to travel. I like to go back and forth to LA and Miami. The first question that I want y'all to ask going forward, how many kids do you have and who's feeding them right now? Single ladies. How many who babysitting? That should be the question. When she asked them, hey, listen, do you have any questions for the ladies or the guys? Ask them, how many Oh, man. Jesus, Lord have mercy. Let's see our next single lady. Shout out to Arlette doing the Lord's work over there. This is the one that y'all be seeing. Oh, dog, but she thick, though. She thick, though. I don't think I'm going to put on no rubber. I'm going to just see it through.
Not set to private. Her content shows her modeling various outfits for the camera.
She's gonna claim she couldn't afford to take care of her kids, but you got your hair done, you got your nails done, you got new clothes on all your pictures. Come on now.
What do you think should happen at this point?
She needs to go to prison and never see her kids again.
All right, my snow bunny. My snow bunny with the face tat that got the Detroit, face tat and stars on her face. Yeah. I'm going to show you what they look like. They from Pontiac. They from Taylor, Melvindale, Hamtramck. Yeah, you didn't know where I thought. You didn't know where I know where all of the snow bunnies are. I know exactly where you can find this prototype at right now. Go to Taylor, Michigan. Taylor, Michigan. Whew, they're everywhere. Taylor, Michigan, Melvindale. Huh? You didn't know I knew, did you? I know exactly where y'all at. Hanging out at Hamtramck, trying to go to the soccer games and get you a new one. Westland, Allen Park. That's correct. See, my fellas know. They know where to find them. When the ladies are giving you a hard time inside of the city of Metro Detroit, out here in Michigan, Clarkson, Waterford, facts. Facts. Sometimes they drive a pickup truck, lifted, or they may have an Altima with no bumper. Same thing. It's not abnormal for you to actually see this play out in real time. I'm telling you, when the fellas is having a hard time with the ladies and y'all black women don't want to give them a chance, they head over to Melvindale, Allen Park, Westland, Taylor. Taylor is usually the headquarters. Clarkson, Waterford, White Lake, Highland, Michigan, Pontiac. You can get you one. Costs you nothing. Drop her right off at the trailer, pick her up, or you can get her in Section 8 housing. She fit the narrative. She's not going to say much. She may have some baggage with her, may have a couple face tattoos, a little bit of front butt, but if you can stomach through it, you can find you a new one that ain't going to give you too much pushback. They absolutely have no standards whatsoever. May brush their teeth every other day, take 2 showers a week, but she'll get there. Shout out to all of my people. I didn't know it was going to be one of them type of shows. I'm going to tell the truth when I see it. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's go ahead and read some of these super chats and get to it. Shout out to Tim Stepney. Debt melting off like fat. Shout out to my dog, Tim Stepney. I'm appreciating you for being here. Wait a minute. We got well over 5,000 people over here on YouTube, and y'all ain't hit a like for the algorithm yet. You should already be subscribed to the channel because this is the greatest morning show on earth. Rick H-Town says, don't jail her. Let her stay in that exact house under them same conditions. Seems fair to me. What in the world TV says, was she going to pop the balloon, the Oakland version? Might have been. Project Killer says, give her 18 years for every child. That's basically life, big dog. Orlando Williams Jr. says this lady deserves a 25-year sentence with a possibility of parole after 15 years. This makes me embarrassed to be black. No. Y'all not going to keep adopting this bad behavior just because she black. All black people don't think like this, all right? Remember that. All black people don't embrace trash culture. In Baton Rouge, they are called swamp rabbits. Oh, okay. All right, we're going to have to go swamp rabbit hunting. I seen a little wabbit. The Midwest been taking L's, ain't it? Just a few of them. We're going to get out of it, though. My girl Night Jade says, my family neighbors knew I wasn't being taken care of by my mother. They just minded their business, fed and clothed me, but never reported me to her. Wow, that's crazy. Florida Panoramic says, gum under the school desk. Facts. Couldn't be my snow bunny. Here, Smitty. Self-made forever says, AD, did you see the viral video of the mom whose kids froze in a casino? Yeah, we talked about. Where you been at? Self-made? Self-made. You been in missing in action? Don't miss no more shows. Don't be gone that long. We talked about that all last week. Aaron L says, if I'm going skiing, it's going to be with a Jennifer Aniston or a Scarlett Johansson. Double diamond slopes. Y'all be picking a bare minimum skiing on because it's no barrier to entry. You ain't got to do much for that. You know what I'm saying? Moses King says, morning AD. Why is it when a black man date out, they always get with the with the non-select, aka huge or super skinny mayo people? I don't know. Self-made forever says, AD, can you explain what the pros and cons of DeSantis taking away property taxes from Floridians, since that's what he's working on currently? I haven't seen that. Send it to me and I'll review it, and we'll definitely have a conversation. J Post says, somehow I can see some skating in this. Skating, this is the man's fault happened. I see the same 304s. Weather flood starters or the casinos. AR Smitty, shout out to you. Aaron L says, shorty look like the biker Undertaker. Young Gladiator says, how's Benton Harbor, Michigan? Is it the hood? It's all the way on the other side. It's closer to Chicago than it is to Detroit. But Benton Harbor is definitely the hood. 1,000%. All right. I ain't going to even lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, you're right, Anton. Same in my city. Yep. Up in Grand Rapids. Yep. Grand Rapids got a great beer scene, though. Shell Shock says, yeah, this is diabolical and she needs to be locked up for that lifer. Them be the type of heifers who be snatching dreams out of the sky and drinking Cuevo. High tolerance. What up, though? Good morning, AD in the bad cases. Happy birthday to Lil Les and break that ram, man. Salute to the Queen Rita. Our girls are the world, and when it comes to them, we don't play. That's a fact. Thank you, my friend. And again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. I just released a video on the Patreon today, just this morning. Phenomenal video. A lot of y'all gonna love it. Some of y'all gonna absolutely adore it. Jury says, leave my snow bunnies alone. A big woman, my big mistake. Shout out to y'all. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. New York. Let's go over to New York, all right? New York, Kathy Hochul. Eric Adams, in my opinion, as crazy as he is, Eric Adams has 100% gotten the bad end of the deal. I think that Eric Adams 100% is culpable for a lot of the things that we see happening because he was a part of the go along, get along gang, especially when it came to illegal migrants. Illegal migrants in New York City, then they had to spend upwards of $6 or $7 billion, which left a local deficit within New York because they generate some of the most tax revenue inside of the United States of America, if not the most. But they had to then freeze police hirings, cut back on that, cut back on resources that they were given inside of the schools that people paid their property taxes for, and cutting back on sanitation, amongst other things, just so they can house these people in these shelters and these luxury hotels, give them food cards and so on and so forth. But one thing that we don't do, and we neglect it a lot because the mayors is the faces of the city, but at the same time, the largest city in New York also deserves to extend some of that same responsibility to people like Kathy Hochul. Now, I think that Kathy Hochul, as I deep dive into who she is and the things that she's done, I think that she's absolutely deplorable. One of the, if not the worst governor inside of the United States of America. I can't give it to her. I'll probably give her number 3. She probably take place number 3. All right? Because Gavin Newsom definitely take that mantle. And then J.B. Pritzker is running for a close first, definitely right there in the second place. And then you got their mayors that's doing their biddings in some of these cities. Gavin Newsom has Karen Bass. J.B. Pritzker has Brandon Johnson, who we're going to get to that in a minute. And then Kathy Hochul has Eric Adams. The difference is, I'm going to get some water in a minute. The difference is J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson are on the same page when it comes to taking advantage of the people over in Chicago. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass seems to be on the same page when it comes to taking advantage of the people of Los Angeles and not doing the thing that's in the best interest of the city. Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams on the other end, they're at odds. They're at odds. Largely because Eric Adams is working with the Trump administration. We've covered that. We're going to continue to cover it. But one thing that is absolutely, positively, 100% has to happen is we have to start holding these governors accountable and putting their feet to the fire, not just Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Kathy Hochul. And right now, Kathy Hochul is going through a war of words with the Trump administration over congestion pricing. But before we get to that, I want to show you guys some of the things that's happening inside of New York City. Let's get to it.
This is a life and death thing. These are hardworking men and women that come to work every day that just want to go home, okay? And they're afraid to go in there.
A matter of life and death. You just heard from a former corrections officer at Attica Correctional Facility describing the need for change inside state prisons. He's among the voices we're amplifying tonight on what's been a very busy day 3 of the strikes outside of dozens of New York State prisons. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. Just hours ago, the governor announced she is activating more than 3,500 National Guard members to support operations at striking prisons. The number of facilities with employees on the picket line tonight now up to 30. That's according to the union representing these officers, and that includes 5 state prisons right here in Western New York. Now,
So while they're telling ICE, don't work with Eric Adams to deport illegal migrants that have been captured and doing some of the worst crimes inside of your city, there are protests that is not being covered by national news that's happening right in New York, amongst other different issues that is taking place. And Kathy Hochul, who is the governor of New York, refused to do a good job for the citizens of New York. You know what she did? You know what she chooses to engage in while she's activating the National Guard and while the prisons are under siege and the people are protesting and everything is going to hell over there in New York City? You know what she decided to do? She decided to go against Trump, because one of the things that we've been talking about and that's been happening is congestion pricing, which is basically a tax on the people for driving in New York City. They pay for the cars, they pay for the roads, they pay for the tolls, but now they got congestion pricing, which is just another way for them to continue to fleece money, in my opinion, out of the taxpaying citizens and the people of New York City. But Trump decided to do something about it. This is what he did.
Breaking right now, an update on those congestion prices over in New York City. Our partners there reporting on that news just moments ago. Let's listen to that.
I'm Jessica Moore with breaking news. We have just learned the Trump administration is pulling the approval for congestion pricing. The Department of Transportation is sending a letter to Governor Hochul this afternoon saying it is, quote, backward and unfair. We have a copy of that letter. It says it's not a fair deal. Everyone should have access to the city, not just the elite. Congressman Mike Lawler tells our Marcia Kramer he was informed today that the decision had been made to end the toll that just went into effect on January 5th. As you know, charges drivers $9 to drive into Manhattan's central business district. And Marcia joins us now with more. Marcia, we barely had 1 month of this, and now it's over. Is it that simple?
Well, the thing about it is this, that President Trump made a promise on the campaign trail that he was going to end congestion pricing. And today, the people who wanted him to make that promise are saying, thank God he made the promise.
So essentially, Trump said no more congestion pricing. And again, I say this for everybody, regardless of whether you like Trump or you like the policies or the things that he promised on the campaign trail. With literally to today, he was inaugurated on January 20th, 2025. It is February 20th, 2025. It seems like he's been in office for 4 years already, and he's only been in office for a month, because we've seen more of him every single day, making himself accountable to the reporters, asking unscripted questions, doing the interviews, signing executive orders, trying to end wars, doing all of the fraud government audits and all kind of stuff that's happening out here, designating bathrooms and making sure that men don't go into women's bathrooms and whatever it is that you can think of. Every single thing that he said that he was going to do on the campaign trail, he is doing. You may not have agreed with the thing that he said that he was going to do, but the one thing that you can't say, unlike other politicians, he doesn't lie. He's not going to lie to you and say that I'm going to do this, and then he doesn't do it. He don't at least fight for you. He's not implementing it. He's not signing an executive order. He's not making sure that Congress is aligned. And one of the things that he said on the campaign trail is, I am going to, within a month, end congestion pricing over in New York. You're welcome. Promises made, promises kept. But Kathy Hochul, she's not happy about that. That's not something that she's ecstatic about, because it's one of her landmark things that she's done in New York to cost people more money. And I don't think that people need to be taxed more. I'm sick of taxes, because taxes come in all different forms. It's not just what comes out of your paycheck. It's your property taxes. It's being taxed to go into the city that you got to work in. You got to pay extra money every single day. And what it's done is it's completely killed any kind of traffic and any kind of motion and movement inside of New York City, because it costs you more just to be able to get there, whether you're a cab driver, whether you actually work in a city, you're a firefighter, whether you work on Wall Street, no matter what, the people are paying more and more and more and more and more of your income is going to government sources that are not accountable to where the money is being spent. And so she decided to have a press conference to address Trump and delivering this promise for New Yorkers and making sure that even though they didn't vote for him as a state, New York has been a blue state for a long time, that he still is the president of everybody, not just the people that voted for him in the swing states.
Good afternoon. I'm joined here today by Dana Lieber, the chairman and CEO of the MTA, and my counsel, Brian Mahana. At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king."
What Drake say? My Mount Rushmore is me with 4 different expressions. Trump need his own Mount Rushmore. He might just build it for himself. A part of his presidential library might be him having his own Mount Rushmore. Long live the king.
I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. We are not. We sure as hell are not going to start now. The streets of this city where battles were fought, we stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will, in case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down, not now, not ever. Because who are we fighting for here? We're fighting for our residents, our commuters, our riders, our drivers, our emergency personnel. Life has gotten better, even those who have asthma, people with illness. That's who we're fighting for.
Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the tool shed at all. Not even close. Not even close. But let me ask y'all a question. When you see these politicians get up on these microphones and they say, we're fighting for people that may have asthma. So you have congestion pricing for the people that have asthma. That is why you have congestion pricing. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. I want to make sure that we all doing the same thing. I want to make sure that we all on board. You're fighting for the people that have asthma. That's why you have congestion pricing. I see this is going to be one of them shows. Let me get more comfortable. I'm going to get some water, take my jacket off, and we're going to have a conversation.
And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives and their doctor appointment, nurses, doctors, EMTs, all the people we need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, they're now going to be affected. So I also have to raise a question. As I look at the pretense for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious, but they actually cited the will of New Jersey. New Jersey didn't want this. Ignoring the will, the people who live here, they're elected leaders in Albany, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration is citing, well, New Jersey wasn't happy, okay? I will talk about that later. But here's what I want to also say. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington. And this is, we are a nation of states. This is what we fought for. This is what people like Alexander Hamilton and others fought for, to set up a system where we are not subservient to a king or anyone else out of Washington.
I think that the worst thing, the absolute positive worst thing that you can do as a politician, the absolute worst thing that you can do as a governor, the absolute worst thing that you can do as a mayor is to fight and not be on the same page as the president. The person that controls the purse strings for your city and the funding that then goes to these cities. The absolute worst thing that you can do as a governor or a mayor is to fight and be in a chokehold with the president of the United States of America. It never works out well for you. It never, ever will work out well for you at all. And I don't know who these 13 people are that are inside of the audience that are clapping. They got a bunch of their supporters and, oh, yeah. It's not going to work out well for you at all.
So this is the fight we're in. It's all about our sovereignty. And I spoke to the president many times in a reasonable way, calm way. You're a New Yorker.
I'm going to read
you know
Cash Apps and Super Chat
essential
shortly.
It is to have safe, reliable public transit, or else this system shuts down. Our economy shuts down. The nation's economy could shut down. That's how essential we are. And one would think he would know that. And then you have others involved. I mean, it feels like the commuters of our city and our region are now the roadkill on Donald Trump's revenge tour against New York.
This is the worst speech, and I don't even know how New Yorkers decided that they wanted to elect her. Absolutely, positively one of the worst speeches that I've seen ever. And so I'm just going to go ahead and bypass it. And I'm going to get straight to what the people in New York City, because I know that some people is liking it and some people is hating it, but congestion pricing is going away. So y'all can thank Donald Trump for that. But the thing that I'm really, really, really concerned about is why would people want to be taxed more? Why would you want more taxes? And the worst thing that politicians say on a regular basis, but it doesn't make sense, is they say that if you remove congestion pricing, that it doesn't bode well for the public transportation system, the aging infrastructure that needs to be updated. So where the heck is all of the money that they already paying into the system going? Where the heck is all of y'all taxpayer money going? If it's not going towards sanitation, if it's not going towards infrastructure, if it's not going to making sure that everybody has good, reasonable public transportation, if it's not going to public safety, if it's not going to the schools, where is all of the billions? And when we talk about New York City, this is not Chicago, this is not Houston, this is not Memphis, this is not any of these places. New York City has hundreds of billions of dollars that they allocate every single year for or from taxpaying citizens. This is your money. All of the money and the resources and all of the revenue that is generated in New York City, if it's not going towards helping the people, if you can't actually use it for infrastructure, then maybe you need to get an Elon Musk-ish type person to come in and audit the federal government. But we know that they don't want to do that because once we start to uncover the books, then we see where all the fraud is going and we can see who really getting the money. We need to have a Similar system that is happening at the federal government take place at every major city, especially these sanctuary cities. But they trying to pitch it to y'all like, well, if we don't have congestion pricing, not only will little Timmy get asthma, but we also won't be able to update the aging infrastructure that we need. So what the heck are y'all paying taxes for in the first place if you can't be responsible for how the budget is being used effectively? But this is how New Yorkers are reacting to it.
Whether you like congestion pricing or not, it is an indisputable fact that vehicular traffic below 60th Street in Manhattan has been down since January 5th when the program began. This is what the approach to the Lincoln and Holland tunnels looked like during the evening rush immediately after congestion pricing took effect. The question now, if the tolls are gone, will drivers and the gridlock return? Eyewitness News reporter Tanya Rivero live on Manhattan's Upper East Side with that quite numbers of our coverage tonight, and we're interested in this answer, Tanya.
Yeah, well, you know, there are a lot of questions to be answered right now. New Yorkers are really curious about what this directive is going to mean in the short term for them. We asked around, we found a variety of reactions, not only to the Trump administration's move today, but also to the tolling program itself. We found reaction to the potential end of congestion pricing to be a mixed bag here in the city. In the good riddance camp, Manhattanite Tim Allen.
I feel like it's like nickel and diming us, like every little piece that we have. Like this city is built on like the small people, and man, we're running out of money.
And some cabbies who say they've been losing business.
Less people take a cab.
Have you noticed that?
Of course.
Congestion price, not good.
This Uber TLC driver is ambivalent, but thinks more people will come into the city without it.
The TLC price, it doesn't affect, so for me, there's no difference.
Right, you don't care?
Yeah, I don't care.
In the keep congestion pricing camp, other cabbies, drivers, and delivery cyclists who appreciate the noticeably less traffic.
It's easier for us, no?
It's easier for you to get around?
Yeah.
The congestion price is good. It's good.
Hold on, dog. I'm suspicious about the fact that you got the Pooh Shiesty mask on. Is it because you cold, or is it because you don't want to be identified as an illegal migrant, not getting around the city and not doing what you're supposed to? That's all I'm saying. I'm suspicious now of anybody that can't speak a full sentence in English. I want to know, especially if you're in the sanctuary city, I want to know what's going on. Let me see this again.
Cyclists who appreciate the noticeably less traffic.
It's easier for us, no?
It's easier for you to get around?
Yeah.
Tom Holman, please. Can you please investigate the man that don't speak a full sentence of English and he's got his face covered in New York City? I want to know whether or not he's just cold and he's trying to make sure that he weathers the storm, or if he's actually an illegal migrant. And if so, I would like my $700 to $1,000 bounty. Thank you very much. That's all I'm saying.
Congestion price is good. It's good for everybody.
It's easy to close the city and go uptown and downtown.
If you have the choice, keep congestion pricing or get rid of congestion pricing.
Yeah, if keeping is good for the city, is good.
And while Allen would be thrilled to see the toll disappear, he wonders if the fee will just pop up somewhere else.
I think what we need to really take a look at is not us paying for all the money, but maybe the people who actually have money to pay for this.
Local and state lawmakers, also divided on the issue, are still formulating a response to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's letter to Governor Kathy Hochul today, saying congestion pricing is now a terminated pilot project.
This is extremely disappointing. Donald Trump wants to bring back the traffic, and I also think it's a little bit misguided. Right now, 6 in 10 New Yorkers don't want Donald Trump to overturn this program, and we've seen incredible positive results.
I want to see who the sources are. Now, I want to see where y'all did this at out. No, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. I'm sure that the people don't want more taxes. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is what's going on over in New York City. As usual, I will stay up to date on what's happening, and I will keep you guys informed and in the loop of why and who, what, when, where, why, and how people are dealing with the fact that they don't no longer have to pay taxes with congestion pricing. Jenny Jackson, shout out to Jenny, says, happy birthday, Leslie and Rita. From Shingo Jen 773. Shout out to my girl Jen. I appreciate you. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move over into the next part of the show because we got to get to Chicago before we get to these refund checks. All right? 3-Man Podcast says, we see you, Anton. The head is looking very shiny today. I got to stay cool for the camera. You know what I'm saying? Also, he says, long live the king is crazy work. Keith Murray, the unbeaten, says they hired black bird flu people, so incompetent firing wrong people have already had to hire back nuclear weapons staff too. Thank you, Keith Murray. Thank you for the update. Chris Cunningham says she sounds like Biden. Yeah, she need to retire. Raheem says, yet they moved the traffic to East Harlem and to the South Bronx where the highest asthma rates in the city are located. Bella B in the building says, as a New Yorker, we're effed. Cheering for taxes is wild. For Tom Holman, that's for the Tom Holman call. I had to get Tom on the phone to make sure that we check everything out. You know what I'm saying, Luke Hazley? I appreciate you, Luke Hazley 20. Hello, Tom. We got one. He was on TV in New York. JP says, please bling Massachusetts to the front of the congregation. And Keyshawn White is in the building. Shout out to Keyshawn. Keyshawn says, crazy how people say Trump doesn't know what he is doing, but the Trump organization has 500 locations internationally still running by his sons. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Mohawk decided that they wanted to also go on a crusade against Trump. J.B. Pritzker specifically has some very, very mean words to say to the king, President Trump. Let's get to it.
This is my 7th State of the State address, and I've come before you to present a budget in good years and in bad, in years of crisis and years of relative stability. There's a whole industry of backseat bellyachers in this state and around the country who make a profession out of rhetorically tearing down Illinois and suggesting that if we would just enact one of their magic bean fixes, that we would never face another difficult budget year. But there's one thing that I've learned as governor: there are no magic bean fixes. And each year there's some difficulty that requires us to work hard to overcome it. This year, the surfacing difficulty is Donald Trump's and Elon Musk's plan to steal Illinois' tax dollars and deny our citizens the protection and the services that they need. I want to offer you a few examples. 20 million Americans, 700,000 of them here in Illinois, will lose health care coverage if congressional Republicans are successful in their effort to cut the Affordable Care Act. And rural hospitals across Illinois will be shuttered. The Trump administration cut off funding for food safety inspectors for nearly a month, impacting more than 70 meat and poultry facilities in Illinois. Without these inspectors, the supply chain collapses, prices go through the roof, from farmers to truckers to meat packers to retailers. Jobs will be lost. Meals on Wheels programs, which home deliver 12 million meals per year to 100,000 seniors and people with disabilities in Illinois, are on the federal chopping block.
I agree, Mimi.
This is real. The new administration and the Republican Congress and Elon Musk intend to take these programs away. For all the Illinoisans watching at home, let me be clear. This is going to affect your daily lives. Our state budget can't make up for the damage that is done to people across our state if they succeed. There are people, some in my own party, who think that if you just give Donald Trump everything that he wants, he'll make an exception and he'll spare you some of the harm. I'll ignore the moral abdication of that position for just a second to say almost none of these people have had the experience with the president that I do. I once swallowed my pride to offer him what he values most: public praise on the Sunday news shows, in return for ventilators and N95 masks during the worst of the pandemic. We made a deal. And it turns out his promises were as broken as the BiPAP machines he sent us instead of ventilators. Going along to get along does not work. Just ask the Trump-fearing red state governors.
Look at all of these fear mongerers and these fraudsters. All of these people that's sitting there right now that is applauding, and the blue state of Illinois wants to keep the fraud running. They want to keep their pockets lined. They're fearful of what's happening in the federal government and all of the waste that's being uncovered and being cut and the fat being removed. And J.B. Pritzker absolutely knows something about fat. Maybe not the removal part, but the fat part. They want to fearmonger the people and thinking that they can't manage your money, your taxpayer money. And y'all have some of the highest property taxes over there in Chicago. Y'all got some of the highest taxes that come out of y'all state income tax checks. They want to fearmonger you into believing that it's best for you to continue to support a previous administration's policies that supported migrants. So no accountability for the fact that they spent billions and billions of dollars on illegal migrants inside of Chicago and Illinois. But they absolutely 100% want to sit here and fearmonger you into believing that if you help the Trump administration prevent illegal migrants from coming into the city, and if not, then funding will be cut. If you want to do the thing that's in the best interest of the city's citizens, because what they not going to say is they removed ShotSpotter. What they not going to say is that they paused hiring any more police officers while at the same time continuing to fund the migrant crisis over in Chicago. What they're not going to say is they're in partnership with the churches where funding is then funneled in order for people to continue to hold you accountable for doing what they want you to do as citizens, but they not fulfilling what they are supposed to be doing as far as keeping you safe and updating infrastructure. What they're not going to do, and this is one of the biggest things, because the people of Chicago, and I know them, the people of Chicago have been saying this for a long time. What they're not going to do is they're not going to show you where the majority of the money where they spent for the migrants went. Who are these CEOs of these staffing companies, these mysterious staffing companies? Who are the CEOs and how much money did these churches get in order to continue to help and house migrants? Who are the people that benefited, the nursing companies? Who are the shelters and the owners of these buildings that they ultimately paid a king's ransom to rent out and or purchase buildings to make sure that they took care of illegal migrants while they don't even own their own streets? Are you telling me that the people of Chicago, especially considering that they went along to get along in the last administration, are better off now than they were 4 years ago? If you expect for me to believe that, get out of here, bro.
You can boo all you want until your constituents lose these services. Those Trump state red state governors are dealing with the same cuts that we are, and I won't be fooled twice. Last week, our federal courts returned a verdict rightfully condemning the once unchecked power of a former Speaker of this House. Now, if you applauded that decision like I did, then I expect you to defend and applaud those same federal courts as they check this president in his quest for unrestrained power.
It's not going to work out well for you, JB. I'm not even sure that they're going to elect you to continue to be governor in the next election, big dog. You have an uprising inside of your city, and I'm going to just be very, very frank. And I'm not a blackety black at all. I'm not a blackety black at all, not even a little bit. I will tell you this. The urban communities have been done a disservice under your leadership as well as under Brandon Johnson's leadership. The elderly, the urban community, y'all sit there and y'all enabled Black Lives Matters and protesters to burn through and make some of these cities and these places a food desert. The response times for police officers, it's not police officers' faults, but ultimately it's y'all fault for understaffing and not keeping the community safe by continuing to fund the migrant crisis. Removing ShotSpotter can't even solve any kind of crime unless it's against another police officer. The people in y'all communities Honest to God, and this is just me talking from the bottom of my heart. They have absolutely been abandoned by you guys over in Chicago and in the Metro Illinois area. I mean, for God's sakes, y'all can't even clean up what's happening over there in Dalton and Thornton Township with Tiffany Henyard. How can you sit there and protest against a person that's trying to clean up y'all communities in Trump while you got your own people robbing your own people inside of your own cities over in Illinois, from Dalton all the way back down to Chicago? And then y'all threw a casino up there so that y'all can steal some more money for the people. And nobody knows who the CEOs of these staffing companies are. Until Chicago and Illinois is more transparent, I employ Chicago Flips Red and Chicago Red to continue to protest and get y'all up out of there. 100%. Here's Brandon Johnson taking questions, saying that he was elected to disrupt the status quo over in Chicago.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Wondering, with the governor talking about his budget tomorrow, what are your
Look at this stupid Mayor Mohawk. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Honestly. Hey guys, dye the beard, leave the gray and the goatee, dye the beard across the sides going up. Make sure that you give me the rigmarole in my haircut. Don't take too much off the top. They've been criticizing me about the mohawk. Keep the top, and then make sure that you fade it up going back. I want the little mullet thing, but not the mullet like the white people. And we have to make sure that we keep the mohawk, because we're steadfast on mohawk against my constituents. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Christ.
Been like with him? Have you made specific requests, and what are you anticipating might be?
And then he got the just for
Look,
me.
There's no secret that across America, the challenges that we are experiencing at the federal level are quite severe, and there are state budgets, city budgets, county budgets that are all suffering through the same challenges, where the expenses are outpacing the revenue. And the governor has an incredible lift to close this budget gap, like many governors and mayors across the country. But I feel pretty confident in our approach towards delivering public accommodation support. To your question, that's what our expectations are, is that the city of Chicago, which generates a great deal of economic vibrancy for the entire state of Illinois, that as it relates to our education system, particularly around special education,
just for me,
bilingual education support, there's also a need for additional revenue for our transportation system. As many people know, the distribution of resources for the Chicago Transit Authority do not match our economic.
I don't even know what this guy is saying, honest to God. Let's see if I can go to another point where he's actually saying anything meaningful.
Of gratitude towards them. Here's what's most important, though, is that I was elected to disrupt the status quo. That's why you are seeing greater investments in public support for housing. You're seeing greater investments in youth employment. As you continue to see violent crime go down in the city of Chicago, it's because the people of Chicago elected me to invest in people. And
I would have you guys to know that, did you know that Chicago's credit rating recently went down, which means that they're paying higher money on interest, and in the next budget fiscal year, because this year they were actually facing a $1.25 billion, $934 million budget deficit. Let me make sure that I get my numbers right. So they were facing a $934 million budget deficit. They haven't balanced the budget over the last 6 years. And on top of that, I would have you to know that the next fiscal year that they're possibly going to be raising property taxes on already high property taxes over in the city of Chicago. And they don't even call it Cook County anymore. They call it Crook County. Under his administration, they've actually lowered Chicago's credit rating, which forces them to pay more taxpayer money in interest on the money that they already borrowed. And again, they don't even own their own streets. Jesus Christ.
And the people that I have assembled share that vision. And I'm grateful to those that I inherited who were able to help us move our city forward. And I continue to look forward to serving alongside of many other public servants who understand that a better, stronger, safer Chicago require us to make critical investments into the neighborhoods that historically have been disinvested in. That is the type of equitable distribution, the conscientious support that the people of Chicago deserve, and that's what we are delivering.
You're also headed to Congress soon to testify. Can you talk about what documents they want you to bring, what specific things that they've asked for, what that says?
Well, that's a good question because they have not been as specific, and so we're narrowing that down, again, coordinating with 3 other cities. As I said from the very beginning, it's why we did not make a rash decision. There were other mayors that were also being compelled. There are a number of documents that we are now trying to centralize and organize. So
Missed me with the word salad. Let me tell y'all what's really going on. He's a part of a sanctuary city that's preventing the Trump administration and ICE from being able to detain and arrest illegal migrants that's not supposed to be here. He was a part of a conglomerate of mayors that actually did Biden's bidding, which included a previous Houston mayor, current mayor Karen Bass, New York mayor Eric Adams that is working with the Trump administration himself, and then also Denver Mayor Mike Johnson. And so they are being called to testify before Congress to try to understand exactly why they are prohibiting the Trump administration from arresting the people that's not supposed to be here. That is the truth. So they could throw all of this mumbo jumbo and the archdiocese and all of this other type of stuff and disinvestment franchising and all of this stuff. But the reality is that from a C student's perspective, that is exactly what it is that they're looking for.
So that we show up with what this committee is expecting. So as we continue to get a better understanding from the chair of the committee and members of the committee, which documents they wish for us to show up with, I always do my homework, right? And we will continue to do that. But here's the most important thing. We are a welcoming city for a reason, right?
They are a welcoming illegal migrant city for a reason. That's the part that he missed. They're not just a welcoming city because the people that are from Chicago, the people that have paid taxes in Chicago, the people that are born and raised in Chicago, they want out. Some of them don't want to leave just because they got so much history there. They got family there. They got jobs there. They got friends there. They've built up a whole community there. And so they don't want to leave. They don't want to be pushed out. But you pushing them out. And it's so many people that want out. They want at least out from this administration. They want out from high taxes. They want out from illegal migrants. They want out from the lack of police presence. They want out. You can't be a welcoming city to people that's not from there.
We fully expect the federal government to do its job. We're not going to interfere with that. And as long as we're all clear about our delineation of power as well as our responsibilities, I believe that we can move forward as a country, responding to our need for comprehensive immigration reform policy to actually take place, while also keeping our community safe, and then also making sure that those who have the power to actually do what is being asked in this moment, that they actually exercise that power and give us the room that we need as a local municipality to do our part.
If y'all rocking with this, if y'all rocking with Mayor Mohawk and you from Chicago, let me know inside of the chat. I want to know what your thoughts are on his administration and what he's been doing. Unfortunately for y'all got some more years before y'all get to be able to re-elect somebody else. And I warned y'all not to elect this guy in the first place once y'all was done with Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move on with the show, all right? Let's go over to the Truth and Facts with Banks. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down. Stat sheet stuffer in the building says, yo, I'm a little behind, but doesn't Hochul sound like a younger female Biden? What you talking about, the lack of substance and incompetence and sounding like you got dementia? If you're talking about that, then maybe. Do the Right Thing says J.B. Pritzker is a penguin in real life and a slicker with a slicker tongue. Keyshawn White, thank you, Keyshawn, for holding me down, says, I guess they want Trump to sleep like Biden. Nah, it's the new sheriff in town, 45-47, getting line. Salute. Truth and Facts with Banks says, could you look up Trick Baby's dinner scene? Send it to me in my email and I'll check it out. Three-Man Podcast says, Ray Charles lined him up. Mayor Frohawk. JC says, AD, Mayor Brandon Johnson is being blackmailed and he not clean. Conservative Lady, shout out to the Conservative Lady, says, Kansai, keep holding their feet to the fire. Amazing content. Thank you, Conservative Lady. And Joe Smooth says, when I see black elected officials like Mayor of Chicago, I'm reminded of Samuel Jackson and Django. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's move on to the next part of the show. And we want to get over to money to the people. Money to the people. Somebody said this to me yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? And I said, well, I need to learn more about that because I wasn't familiar with it. And I need this to actually be a real thing. So let's evaluate whether or not this is a smart plan, and if he really said, Doge, that it is a possibility for the taxpayers to be able to get a refund for all of the fraud and the finessing that they find in all of these government agencies.
Elon Musk is proposing potentially giving money to Americans based on what Doge is finding. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I love it. A 20% dividend, so to speak, for the money that we're saving by going after the waste and fraud and abuse and all of the other things that are happening. I think it's a great idea.
How much money do you think Americans...
Could be a lot. I mean, if it's 20%, we'd give back a lot of money to the taxpayer. And also it'd give an incentive for the taxpayer to go out and report things to us where we can save money.
I'm not against that. Do y'all understand how dividends work with the stock market? Okay, so this is essentially how a dividend works. Some companies issue dividends, and it depends on what the strategy of leadership is and the board members, because other companies don't. Some companies want you to actually experience growth in the stock much faster, and so they choose to reinvest it back into the company, and then the stock price growing is actually how you get a return on your investment. Other companies, like for example Microsoft, decide that every quarter they actually issue a dividend to the shareholders. So based off of whatever the profitability of the company is, you get a percentage of those properties of those profits depending on how many shares that you have. So if you have 10 shares and they're giving $1 per share, just for the sake of conversation, then that means that they're going to issue you $10. Broken up over the entire year, it's roughly $2.5 over per quarter, right? Because you got 4 quarters. So what they're saying and what Trump is proposing, or what he's having a conversation about, is when we talk about the fraud, waste, and abuse that is being implemented from the federal government, from previous administrations, and from all of their minions, when we start to uncover, because I'm hearing, according to Doge's website, that they're already found over $60 billion annually in fraud, that once they find out all of these trillions of dollars and where it is, to issue a 20% dividend divided up between all of American taxpayers to go back to the people, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. They want people to have a vested interest and also to feel the impact of where their tax dollars are going and know that it's actually being put to work in the right way. Let's take it away from all of our crooked Congress members and from all of these fake money laundering schemes from USAID and all of these other different agencies and give it back to the people. That's what he's basically saying. If Trump is not a man of the people, I don't know who is.
Trump also speaking on the wasteful spending and alleged widespread fraud Doge has found. Listen to this.
We're also finding tremendous abuse, waste, and fraud in Social Security. Social Security is what's happening there is going to be one of the great potential scandals in history. On the program, there are over 4.7 million Social Security numbers from people from 100 years old to 109. Think of that. Now, over 100, there aren't a lot of people that make it. Hopefully, most of the people in this room will make it.
In an exclusive interview with Sean Hannity, Elon Musk explaining the importance of his cost-cutting actions at Doge.
I really want to emphasize to people that this is a very important point. If we don't solve the deficit, there won't be money for medical care. There won't be money for Social Security. We either solve the deficit, or all we'll be doing is paying debt. It's got to be solved, or there's no medical care, there's no Social Security, there's no nothing. It's got to be solved. It's not optional. America will go bankrupt if this is not done.
This is not a hard concept to grasp. And I suspect that people like Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren and all of the biggest protesters of what's happening in the federal government, I suspect that they don't care, because by the time that it impacts America, they'll already be passed away, because they're up there in age. To be honest with you, they're up there in age. I don't think that Biden really cared about what happened, because he's up there in age. It doesn't really matter. As long as he absolved all of his cronies and his friends and his son, and he gave pardons to Fauci and everybody else, and everybody can just go about living their lives, and they probably in a different country at this point. I don't think that they care. I don't think that they care. I want a solvent America for my daughter and my daughter's daughters. It's a very, very, very basic concept. You cannot continue to run up the deficit and subsidize people's lifestyles with fake jobs and diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is a very simple concept. We have to pay down the debt. You know what happens if you get too much credit card debt and then it exceeds your ability to be able to pay the minimum payment? Because if you're paying a minimum payment, basically you're paying pretty much all interest. You're not paying it down. Right now, America is continuing to borrow money, and we're paying the minimum payment, which is trillions of dollars in debt. If you do not solve the problem with the federal deficit, what you basically do is the same thing that regular everyday Americans do. They start to get their wages garnished, and then they file for bankruptcy. And it would be the craziest thing in the world to have the United States of America file for bankruptcy. You know what happens if we file for bankruptcy? All industries collapse. The dollar has no more value. You can't continue to run the whole country into the ground and say, well, I don't care because it ain't going to be affecting me because I'm going to be aged out and it don't really matter and I'm already poor. Other people care. Other people care. You cannot run the country into the ground. At some point, you got to cut the fat. And that's what we doing in the federal budget, the same way that we do with our regular monies. You go to your people, you go to your friends and family, you go to your homies, and you say, hey, fam, I can't hang out no more. Hey, ma, I can't be a son husband no more. You gonna have to get off your fat butt and get a job. Hey, baby girl over here, I can't trick off on you no more. I got to get my life together. I got kids now. You know what I'm saying? I used to make it. We used to be out here making it rain and all of that. When I was a child, I did childish things. I'm a grown man. I got to put that away now. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we fund our 401k. We got to take care of business. We got to leave an inheritance for our children. That is what we're doing with the federal government. For some reason, y'all think that this is just mythical. Doesn't really matter. We could just keep on doing it. Man, you could just keep having this diversity, equity, and inclusion job that you ain't doing nothing on, and you keep waking up and saying, oh my God, I went into the federal government. I don't have to continue to work. That don't work no more. We broke. Hey, listen, I know I'm still working. I know I still got a car. I know I still got a roof over my head. We got the ability to continue to provide for ourselves. But baby girl, you can't keep going shopping every day. We broke. You can't keep shopping. I don't have it.
That's why I'm here.
It's important for people to understand he's doing a big job. He's doing a very thankless job. It's really a thankless job. But he's helping us to save our country. Our country was in serious trouble. And I had to get the best guy.
And the administration's money moves don't stop there. So just yesterday, the president signed an executive order ending all federal taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants, directing federal departments and agencies to identify and stop these funding efforts. Meanwhile, at the Department of Defense, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is ordering the Pentagon to make plans for major budget cuts of their own. Hegseth wants to cut 8% from the defense budget every year for the next 5 years. Maria?
All right, Brooke, a lot of information there. Thank you so much, Brooke Sigmund. And let me just say that the Committee for a Responsible Budget says these three major trust funds face looming insolvency. Social Security going to go insolvent by 2033, Medicare hospital insurance going insolvency by 2036, and the highways by 2028. Mahek Cook, your reaction.
Look, what an amazing time to be alive. Every single promise that was made by President Trump, he's delivering on. And we have to start celebrating Doge. I think the people that are pushing back are the ones that are increasing fraud, waste, and abuse.
Oh, yeah.
There is
Facts.
so much at stake today. We are close to bankruptcy, Maria, $37 trillion. And Elon Musk and President Trump, I believe, will be the first president in the last 25 years through President Trump that will finally balance the budget. This is about putting Americans first. And for the first time in my life, I feel cared for by somebody that is looking me directly in the eye and saying, I care about your dollars. I'm going to treat them like mine, and I'm going to return them for you. That's restitution. And we deserve that.
Yeah, and you know, we talk all the time about the interest being such a problem. Interest is the single largest item in the budget, behind Social Security. More spending on more than spending on defense, Medicare, and children.
And imagine this, 50% of our treasuries come due over the next 3 years, and they will be refinanced at higher rates, which is going to increase the interest payments even more. So we have issues there. In regards to Social Security, Medicare, these entitlement programs that are obviously facing insolvency, you know, it's always been political suicide to really come up with a solution to those entitlement programs. But the best solution is right in front of us. And
basically what they're saying is that somebody got to be Thanos. Somebody had to torpedo their reputation. In Trump's case, it's not torpedoing his reputation because the American people are so fed up and they've suffered enough to where they actually understand that there's some cuts that's got to be made. And so basically what they're saying is that it's political suicide. This is largely what's been preached and why presidents and legislators have been kicking the can down the road. And they knew that they had to solve for this. Clinton did it. What did Clinton call it? Rego, where he basically got rid of like 400,000 government employees from a bunch of agencies that didn't really matter. Clinton understood it and nobody tripped about it. Trump said we got to do it and everybody is in an uproar. Oh my God. Every other woman that I scroll up through inside of my email from the videos that y'all send me is complaining about the fact that their geological surveys are no longer valid under the Trump administration. The world is going to end because we got to do more geological surveys. We broke. We're broke. And they've been telling us for years that it's political suicide for somebody to solve for the issues that's inside of America. Because, oh my God, we got to make sure that we keep the voters. No, somebody got to make the difficult decision and get all of the Infinity Stones and snap.
it is eliminate fraud and waste. I mean, you're talking about 20 million people who are older than 100, according to the Social Security Administration. I don't know if all of those people are receiving benefits, but if they're receiving $25,000 a year in benefits, that sounds a lot like $500 billion a year in savings to me. We need to start there.
There was one person who Elon Musk said was receiving benefits that was 360 years old. Okay, I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. I Googled the oldest person in America. She's 114. But, you know, these millions of people who are above 100, it's fiction. The IRS now reportedly set to lay off roughly 6,000 employees today.
I can't think of a better organization. They should have started with the... Let me be quiet. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I can't think of a better organization where we need more cuts and layoffs. I ain't kidding you. I don't know nobody in the chat, not one of y'all, Democrat, Republican, sassy, ashy, no matter what it is, male, female, white, black, Asian, Latino, Asian, Pacific, Hawaiian, Nigerian, whatever y'all want to label yourselves as, short, tall, broke. I don't know one person that should be advocating against more audits, more cuts, and more layoffs over at the I, the ARA, and the, I'm not going to say the last letter because I don't want to trigger the algorithm against me. Not one person should be sitting here and saying, you know what, Anton, I'm against that. No. I am supportive. Let me give another round of applause for that.
As part of the Trump administration plan to shrink the workforce, the New York Times is reporting the terminations will target relatively recent hires at the IRS, which the Biden administration had attempted to revitalize with a surge of funding and new staff. Remember that? He wanted 80,000 IRS agents to look under every rock to try to get more tax revenue.
So what Donald Trump is doing is something that is absolutely brilliant. When I was in office for 20 years, we always talked about waste, fraud, and abuse and how we make government more efficient. What he's done is brilliant. He said, you know what? If we go and we reduce the amount of money we spend, we're going to give a dividend back to the American people. What that does, that changes the whole political dynamic when now somebody sitting on their couch at home says, wait a minute, it's not just about more efficient government, more effective government, but it's for me. I can actually get a check. That's awesome.
Well, the Democrats
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm not sure if I care. I can imagine why everybody else would care about a return of $5,000. I would rather have a tax credit, but that's just me in particular. I just like the fact that they're uncovering all of the fraud and the waste, because I think that we are 100% finessing or getting finesse as the American people. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we'll go over to the next portion of the show. My dog Ash says, those not familiar with Chicago politics, let me tell you the truth. And I know you're from Chicago, Ash. White liberal Democrats class in Illinois and state capital make their fortune off of suffering black people. And if you want to play, you got to pay. I like that. And that's absolutely true. Retro is in the building, says chestnut checkers, yet we got people, friends and families losing their mind over Doge. Keyshawn White says, imagine taxpayers getting a refund and people who tried to lock up Trump go to jail. I think that everybody that didn't vote for him shouldn't get a refund. Kim One says, no, screw SSI and Medicare. Allow us to cash out. Showcase Classics in the building says, good afternoon, Anton. Giving out that good information and exhortation as always. Papa Ton on the Dusty Dusties in the morning. Block Bully Ton to dine on after hours. This is pure gold. Shout out to my dog. I appreciate you. What in the World TV says, due to Congress, big spending for the past 10 years now, government workers are losing their jobs. When will Congress lose their job? Never, because the House always wins. Obama net worth is $70 million, salary $400K. Keyshawn White says, and then Bella, shout out to Bella B, says, do you think that the illegals have something to do with these Social Security frauds? I have no clue. I just want it all to be done. Again, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's pivot for a minute, and let's talk about laid off workers are now protesting these cuts via Doge and Elon Musk. Again, hit a like for the algorithm. We are already in the midst of phenomenal live streams that we've been doing on Patreon, on the Bag Chasers. I just dropped a video for you guys today. Make sure y'all tap in. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's get to it.
Meanwhile, thousands and thousands of federal government workers have been let go in the first month of Trump's return to the White House, leading to protests across the country.
Have y'all noticed that this is all white people? I see nobody. You know what I haven't been seeing? I haven't been seeing a whole lot of black men complaining about anything lately. I mean, you know, we always gonna have our thing where we complaining about the latest woman that did this and whoever the Cheyenne Bryant is and the Ebony K. Williams. I heard that she kind of disappeared. I think she having a baby or something like that. Black men usually complain about family court laws along with white men, but I don't see anybody out there except for people that have a Caucasus face. Now, again, you know that Anton don't play identity politics, so I don't care what your look is, but I'm not going to ignore the obvious. I'm not going to ignore the obvious. For whatever reason, y'all thought that diversity, equity, and inclusion would skip over you, and it hit you right in the neck. Right in the neck.
Now, the White House is saying that it wants to slash 10% of the federal workforce. That is some 240,000 government jobs all.
That's not even a lot of people. Again, President Clinton slashed upwards of almost 400,000 people from the government workforce. Trump said he wanted a 10% cut, and he wants to eliminate all of these different agencies that's defrauding American taxpayers. And y'all in the uproar. Y'all in an uproar.
Told now Trump and Elon Musk, who is in charge of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, are defending those cuts.
If the will of the president is not implemented, and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented. And that means we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. And so I think what we're seeing here is the thrashing of the bureaucracy as we try to restore democracy and the will of the people.
The bureaucracy goes beyond Washington, D.C. 80% of federal workers live outside of the Washington area. And joining us now is Nate Vince and Katie Sandlin. Until last week, Nate worked at Yosemite National Park. Katie worked at the National Institute of Health. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Nate, I want to start with you. As I understand...
We're going to start with Nate. Nate looked like he had a rough night. All right. I could imagine that Nate probably caught a little bit of flack from his wife. Because she said, listen, if you don't get out there and protest, if you don't get out there and make your voice known after getting laid off, we're not going to have nowhere to eat. If it was me personally, and I want to get Nate's story and I want to get our Snow Hair's story over here. If it was me personally, I don't have time to protest. I'm trying to find another job. That's the one difference, the biggest difference that I have personally seen, if I'm stereotyping effectively. That's the one difference that I've seen between white people and black people, is when black people get laid off, they gonna complain, they gonna whine about it, but at the same time, they gonna already be searching for a new job before they even turn their computer in. That computer, one thing about us, you know what we gonna do? We gonna download all of our files, make sure that we get everything that we were supposed to get off of that computer. If we anticipate that it's going to possibly be a layoff, we already downloading everything. And if it's somebody that's spiteful, not like I'm not spiteful, but if it was somebody that's spiteful, they may remove some things that you needed pertinent to your project. Go and make it yourself. No. You said that my job ain't important no more. So I'm removing my files from the repository. Y'all can go and get y'all own files and y'all do it yourself since y'all want to lay somebody off, huh? That's the one thing about black people. They already if they suspect that it's a possibility of a layoff, they already prepping to remove their files from the repository, and they already then updated their resume, and they going to complain on TikTok while in between takes, they going to be looking and applying for another job. White people, y'all make sure that y'all do everything according to company standards. You're going to cry online, and then you're also going to go out and protest. And you're going to wait till the very last minute, and then you're going to get on government benefits, and you're going to be complaining because you got to move back into the trailer park. Look at the chat. They telling you that I'm telling you the truth. Listen, the reason why this show is so good is because we break through the stereotypes, and we find the truth. We don't spare anybody. I don't care if you're handicapped. You're going to get this work. You're going to get this work. I don't care if you're handicapped. You're going to get this work. Fact of the matter is, all of them, I'm sure that it was a group of black people that got laid off right along the white people, but I only see white people out there protesting. You know why? Because black people protest in their spare time. White people protest during work hours because they want you to see it. They don't want you to join the resistance. And black people, they'll support you if they extra liberal and they raging liberals, and they going to bump their horn, but they're not going to miss their doctor's appointment. Ooh, child, I've been waiting on this doctor's appointment for a month. A spot just opened up for me. I got to get to my appointment, but I support you. They going to hit a like for the algorithm, but they're not going to stop and grab a sign with you. It's too cold outside. It ain't even summertime right now. What you doing protesting? It ain't even summertime right now. It's too cold for that. The way my shoes and my outfit is set up, I'm set up to be outside for 30 seconds to get from the parking lot into wherever it is that I'm supposed to be. I can't be out here protesting with you, but I'm with you in spirit. I'm going to pray for you. That's what black people do. The reason why black people pray so much is not because they so spiritual. It's because they looking for an intercessor for the thing that they not willing to do. Oh, black people always pray for him. That's because you don't want to go out there with him. The reason why black people always praying for somebody, often at times, is because they looking for an intercessor. That's why they say we gonna give it to God. Don't pray and worry. Don't pray and worry. They got their own problems. That doctor's appointment. You know how long it's been since that doctor? They got to get their doctor's appointments in before they coverage in. You out there protesting. They trying to get all the. Listen, we got to get Timmy. His brace is going to be coming off. We got to talk to them. We got to get this dentist appointment. Make sure that we figure out where Cobra is coming in. Make sure you get all of your doctor's appointments in. Did you get that medication? Did you call that medication in before the coverage ends? Because they said it's going to end at the end of the month and we got to get our last paycheck. They got to get their doctor's appointments in. What you talking about? Coverage about to end. Now they going to go get healthy. Oh, they already done signed up for DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. They running all apps at the same time. And they got their husband delivering under their screen name. You ordered it from Jane. John is pulling up. What's up, big dog? I ordered this from Jane or John? You look like a John. Listen, hey, as long as my food is out, I don't really care. What up, bro? I appreciate you. We already got our resume updated. Already looking for jobs, tapping in. Y'all out there join the resistance. We resistance in. We support you. That's how we do with the union members. Union members was on strike. But hold on, y'all. Get out the way. I support y'all, but get out the way because I got to go down the street. They're saying I'm late already. Trying to tell you what we really do. Now, I know that they don't want me to tell this on the big media companies. That's why they ain't gave me my $30 million yet. But I'm just going to tell you that this is the truth. Let's hear what John got to say. What's going on with you, John? Because I know you had a rough night.
You were like the sole locksmith for the entire Yosemite Park, right? What does that entail?
Yosemite has roughly 1,000 structures, historic and non-historic structures, 300 plus houses that people live in, roughly the size of Rhode Island. All of those buildings are public property and are cultural resources for the public and are protected by locks, various locks in different forms. Day to day, I keep those locks working and keep them functioning so that the people in the park, the emergency services, utilities, facilities, interpretation division, all those people can do their job. And then day to day, I maintain the records of all those key controls and all the records for the park.
Yeah, you're not essential. We're going to go ahead and let you go. We can do all of those records with AI now. I'm telling you, we think ahead. You know why? People keep asking me, Anton, how come you haven't updated your LinkedIn yet? You don't even work at that place no more. How come you haven't updated your LinkedIn yet? Because I haven't gotten my last check yet. They still paying me. Yeah. They still paying me. And so why would I, in any way, shape, or form, even though I don't work there anymore, why would I jeopardize the possibility of a paycheck? Because I had to sign paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Why would I jeopardize my big dog checks? Because they got to keep paying me for the next few months. And then I get the big check too. That's coming. Why would I jeopardize that by making sure that I tell y'all where I used to work on LinkedIn? See, we do preventative. We playing chess out here. We not about to mess up nothing. No, sir. No, sir. No bags. I just dropped a video on the Patreon today where I showed y'all exactly what I made from content creation last year. All right. And I showed y'all where I had a 28% jump and a 28% gain in revenue growth. And also we made some cuts, so we kept more money in our pocket, and we made some capital investments in what it is that we got going on here. I don't care how much I made. All money is good money. All money in. That's legal. No money out. I'm not even going to risk even a little bit of telling you anything until after I got every single paycheck and dime from the organization that they promised me. 100%. Not one dime will be missing. Not one. I don't care if it's $30. I want all 30. Not $29.99, not $28.32. I want all my money. No bags get fumbled over here. You absolutely right, Yasmin. They over here telling all of the companies secret risking it because I got to stand up for democracy. Fam, you just took the buyout. What you over there talking to MSNBC and CNN for? You better shut up before you mess up your money. Giving your full name, I'm John McIntyre. Okay. All right. Okay. You got it. You got it. We going to do it your way. We going to take the risk. Black people just be sitting over there like, I'm going to let him go first and see what happened to him first. Go ahead. You do what you feel is best. We going to make sure that we get all bags in, no money out. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to go over to the next part of the show. What in the World TV says, even before Trump, I was networking and making moves. We ain't waiting on nobody. We already had a fire. Let me tell you something. You know why you don't see a lot of black men that's complaining about getting laid off, even though they don't get unemployment? The reason they don't get unemployment is because they already had another job. The reason that they don't get unemployment is because they already was working another job. Every guy I know personally, even the ones I coached and most of the bag chasers, if it's one of them that got laid off, it didn't even matter because they was not living on both of their paychecks. They was already working two jobs at the same time. I'm telling you the truth. I don't know anybody that don't have not one man in my life. Do I know? Not one of my homeboys do I know that do not have multiple streams of income and they just trying to figure out how they gonna move the next move so that the best move could be the next move. I ain't lying to you. They already had something in the can. The only reason they ain't quit yet is because they trying to figure out if they going to get a severance package. What? Why would I quit? I'm going to just keep on holding on to the hold on. Y'all out there protesting, they up there, they still working. Hey, man, I thought you got laid off. You can't come out with me. Nah, man, I'm still doing some stuff. Got to make sure I take care of some business. They ain't trying to tell you because then you going to mess up the bag for them. Where you work at? What you so concerned about? I can't get you a job. I'm telling you the truth. I don't know any black man that has gotten laid off that didn't already have something else that he had moving and shaking. Not one. They may complain about politics. They may complain about women. But the one thing they ain't going to lose is no sleep over no money because they already got something else in the iron. That's the absolute truth. That's why you don't see no guys on TikTok going on. I don't know what I'm going to do. You don't see that. You don't see that. Happy girl, what in the building? What up, though? What's going on, baby girl? I appreciate you. Chris Cunningham says, that's fact. Black people got child support, large credit card bills, and a high car note, but they going to be working. We don't have time to protest. We need another bag. we trying to make sure that we keep what we already got. That's why we stay working. What in the Earl TV says, 80, you know us? We would update that resume. What you mean? I am you. You think that just because I'm on here with over 6,000 people watching on YouTube that I ain't thinking about the next? Man, I've been thinking about 2026 when 2025 came in. That's why I'm able to have these conversations. If you are part of the Patreon and you see my last budget video that I broke down for you guys, it's budgeting, ain't it? It's doing the same thing, ain't it? Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. I'm thinking about myself like, I might have to get something else on the side just because of the health. I don't want to pay for healthcare coverage. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't want to pay for no healthcare coverage. No, sir. No, sir. Why pay for it when it can come out of their pay? Company can pay for that. Company can pay for that. Why would I want to just voluntarily give some money over to a healthcare company? They cutting jobs. I don't want to just give it to them. They going to have to get it out of me. Anyways, we got to address this migrant crisis. Let's spend 10 minutes on it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Interesting developments here. The CIA is flying surveillance drones over Mexico to hunt for fentanyl labs. That, according to a senior U.S. official, the flights began under the Biden administration and are now reportedly expanding under the Trump administration. The drones are not armed, and the United States is coordinating with Mexico on this operation to target the drug cartels. My next guest is a former ICE supervisory special agent. In 2011, on assignment in Mexico, he was ambushed by the Los Zetas cartel. He survived the shooting. His partner, Special Agent Jaime Zapata, did not. Victor Avila joins me now. Victor, good to have you with us today. I just want to put up the soundbite from President Trump when he was asked by our Jackie Heinrich at Mar-a-Lago about these operations. Here's what he said.
What can you tell us about the CIA drone flights over Mexico? Is this the next step in the war against the cartels?
Well, we're going to see. We're dealing with Mexico. I have a very good relationship with Mexico, but I think Mexico is largely run by the cartels, and that's a sad thing to say. And if they wanted help with that, we'd give them help.
Obviously, the cartels have had a huge business running people across the border. That's being cracked down on. And now these drones surveilling the cartels. What do you think is next, Victor?
The last thing that the cartels should have wanted was to go back and forth with the Trump administration. And instead of just bowing down and finding another finesse, hey, maybe y'all can go and send some drugs over to a different country, or I don't know, go and get some boats and ship it over here or whatever. I don't know what you're going to do. Go over to Cuba. Who knows? But the point is, the last thing that they should have did, and the last president that you want to do it with, is the Trump administration, because now they're going to take the drone program that they was using over there in Ukraine, and they're going to have it over there surveilling you, and they're just going to let you know. They're going to make an announcement as they fly back. Right, chill out. Don't do that. No more fancy coming over into the United States of America. Drums out. Last thing you want is an unmanned. I don't know if y'all ever played Call of Duty, if you played any of these. Last thing you want is a drone program surveilling you because you decided that you wanted to get out of order and you forgot where the hierarchy was. It's us and then it's you is what we let you do. That's the last thing that you want in your life.
Well, this is all coming together, Martha, and thank you for having me back. Listen, when I worked in Mexico, we've been craving for this news for a long, long time, myself and my colleagues, about the attack against these cartels, these terrorist organizations that, by the way, have finally been designated by the Secretary of State, because that's the real designation now. Now it's the game changers. And President Trump is right. The cartels have a stronghold on the country of Mexico. They've been running a parallel government there for many, many years. And it's the corruption and it's many other things that the cartels have had their hand dealt with in that country, but not just in Mexico. They're headquartered there, but the impact they have in ours with a lot of crime that happens in our country associated back to the cartels. But Martha, with this designation, this changes everything. Now, anyone in the United States, whether you're a gang member or you're selling drugs, fentanyl, a human being, and that's tied to one of these organizations that were listed. By the way, the list that came out, I agree with it 100%. You are now engaging with a terrorist organization, just like if you were talking and engaging with ISIS or if you're financing them.
And that's one of the reasons a lot of people was asking, well, why would Trump designate cartels as a terrorist organization? And he had a whole list of the different organizations that he designated as terrorist organizations. And it's because people that now do business with them will also be aiding and abetting and also be, participating in terrorist activity. So now they can come after you and they can go beyond what you thought was available. Listen, think about it like this. Look at it from this lens. And a lot of people didn't get it until it was already done. It's kind of like the pimping business, right? Over there on Figueroa and all of these streetwalkers or whatever, pimps have largely existed without any kind of problems and trouble. If they ever got arrested, they little chick could go and bail them out. If the chick ever got arrested, they'll go and bail them out. They'll be out tomorrow. They'll be back on the street, back on the stroll, back on the strip, doing whatever it is that they do, right? But here's the problem. When they started cracking down, And they were using laws that wasn't even created for them to start to arrest them. And they started saying, okay, listen, this is not prostitution. This is not whatever it is that y'all was getting arrested for, domestic disputes, all of this stuff. This is when they switched it from that to trafficking, it was too late because all of the dudes that had never adjusted, they had never invested their money. They thought that they was going to be pimping forever. And so what they did was they basically eliminated a lot of it and they sent y'all underground while they created an entirely new economy and OF, Backpage, and all of this stuff. And if you got caught with a chick or a chick reported you and say, hey, listen, I'm being held against my will, you was going to be doing a decade or more of prison. When they switched the laws from domestic disputes and assault to trafficking, everybody started getting scared. It changed the game. It changed the game. Everybody switched up. It changed the game. And this is a similar situation and tactic that the Trump administration is doing. And y'all not gonna catch it until you catch it. If you're doing business with people that he've designated as a criminal organization and a terrorist group, you are now going to catch charges that's 10 times worse than you would have had he not designated them as a terrorist organization. Because now you're working with terrorists. You're working with the enemy. I'm telling you, you're not going to catch it until you caught it. Until your homeboy that's rapping about it get them football numbers, because you know they got to make an example out of y'all. They got to make an example out of you because you wasn't paying attention. You say that politics don't apply to you. Now you designated as working with a terrorist organization, and now you're going to catch an L. It's the same thing. It happens, it changes, it evolves, it goes into something different, and then you're going to have people advocating for your release, and they're going to be protesting on your behalf and asking for a pardon for you. And I'm telling you that you need to switch up your game, switch up your hustle, go and get something else. Listen, you made a lot of money, you didn't get caught, or you just got caught, got a little slap on the wrist. All right, time to move on because they designated him, hey, dog, you a terrorist. I can't really mess with you no more. Tell him, you a terrorist, though. No, you a terrorist, dog. I can't really mess with you no more. I'm telling you, bro.
Get to go pick you up, and I understand we have some room in Gitmo for you. So This is what it's going to change to dismantle these cartels, not just from the top up like we've been doing for many, many years, but from the bottom up and at the ground level, at the local level. And yes, President Trump is right that we need Mexico's cooperation, but I think they're saying one thing. And actually, they're saying that, they don't want to have their sovereignty violated and all these things. And I've heard it many, many times. But what I'm hearing is they actually do want to cooperate with the United States. They're allowing flights to military flights, our military flights to patrol over the Arizona-Mexico border, which all this gathering of the intel of the labs and everything else, I think is a setup for what's to come. And that's possible enforcement against these cartels.
Well,
they setting a precedent to come back and absolutely wipe y'all out. Listen, now is not the time. Right now, it's not the time to be a criminal, bro. Especially if you got bad backgrounds. Especially if it's not even a time to hang with criminals. Criminal activity is on pause for a while. If you're a migrant, take back streets, back roads. You know what I'm saying? Illegal migrant, don't pass go, don't collect $200, tell your daddy he need to shut up. You know what I'm saying? If you've been out here moving Fenty in the streets, it's time to get a new hustle. Hey, man, the people that you've been doing business with, they designated as terrorist organizations. We're going to have to find a new hustle. Listen, every few years, every switching of the administration, you're going to have to pivot. Whatever. You should have been putting that money, same way that the strippers is out here using the money that they got to get what they want to go and become nurses. And then y'all wondering why, man, what profession is the one that's the most promiscuous? The same one where all of the strippers was putting all of their money into so that they can then become legit. They knew that they was going to age out. And so eventually they all became nurses. Traveling nurses, nurses. So they still got the same sentiment. They just out here in these streets. And so that's why y'all keep saying, man, don't ever trust a nurse. She just rebranded. That's Diamond from the Players Club, dawg. You just don't know her because she switched cities. It's the same thing. You're going to have to switch up your hustle. every administration, every new change, they start to implement new laws. You got to see how that affect what your industry is in. You know what I'm saying?
Immigration enforcement continues to unfold across the U.S. as President Trump seeks to fulfill a key aspect of his campaign. Today, Fox 45 News took the first local media ride along during this Trump administration in the country. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost was there as ICE made several arrests around Maryland this morning. As she explains in a story you're seeing first on Fox, more federal lawsuits against jurisdictions could be coming over immigration policy.
Before the sun comes up in Prince George's County, immigration officers are preparing for another day of enforcement.
Fentanyl and heroin, no pros with a gun. They just no pros a couple weeks ago.
That's a good idea. Drug dealer with a gun and wanted for murder, we won't prosecute that case. It's smart. Okay.
Maryland ICE Director Matthew Elliston says policies refusing to work with ICE are creating public safety risks. The first target has an open murder warrant and is known to ICE.
I mean, we're out today trying to arrest somebody that's wanted in their county for murder. And then if I do turn him over to Prince George's to face his murder charge, they won't give him back to me when he's done, which is just a wild concept. Like, this is when I miss Alsa Brooks being in there, because I could call her and she'd say, no, we'll definitely turn this guy back over to you. But you know, hopefully the next county executive, kind of feels the same way.
And just like that, we're on the move, pulling someone over.
Hey.
After a brief interview,
He can either give us a license and we can run him and decide if we're going to let him go, or we'll smash the window out and drag him out.
See, all of that, y'all was listening to AOC. Remember when AOC was saying, you can resist the police and ICE, and if they stop you, you can say, I reserve my rights. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do. Remember when AOC was saying that? Yeah. We got different type of police officers now. Gang Squad is back. For those of my Detroit people that grew up of a certain era, you know who Gang Squad is. Gang Squad didn't operate by the same rules as the regular people. Listen, we don't care nothing about your protests. We don't care about what y'all did during the Black Lives Matters 2020, 2021. We don't care about your cameras and all of that stuff. If you don't roll down the window and give me your license, then we gonna go ahead and smash this window. You and your license and whoever in the car with you is coming down to the precinct, and you going to Guantanamo Bay. Denzel Washington on Training Day is real life now. They going to have you playing basketball in Guantanamo Bay. If you don't, bruh, you better roll down this window. You can talk that AOC nonsense, but I seen AOC on TikTok. I seen AOC on Instagram Live, and she said that you seen AOC, right? We're not gonna talk to you. We're not gonna negotiate. We're not going back and forth with you. We just gonna just break the mid-sentence. All right, so you're not gonna get gush. That's all we doing. We gushing windows today. Might become a bounty hunter. Do a ride along. We gushing windows. We not negotiating with nobody in the United States of the Americas no more. You speak Spanish and as your first language, you don't know English, I need to see your license, dog. Stop and frisk.
another attempt to get information, but the man won't get out of the car.
I'm gonna get him out.
See, you messed around and found out. I didn't even know that they was gonna do that. You messed around and found out. I didn't know that they was gonna bust both windows on both sides and then be pulling at your legs and your arms and be ripping you apart like a horse. I didn't know that they was gonna do that. I didn't know. You decided that you wanted to play the game, and then you wind up becoming collateral damage, and now they busting out windows. You wanted to play the game, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Let's go. We breaking windows. I bust the window out your car.
Another arrest made.
ICE policy allows us in that case to smash the window and pull them out.
The man is what's called a collateral, or someone found who is in the country illegally but is not the target of the current investigation, which is a change under the current administration.
We're enforcing the law written by Congress. So if you're here unlawfully, you are subject to arrest.
But Elliston says the mission remains the same,
The worst go first.
and the stats continue to show progress.
As of yesterday, the Baltimore field office has arrested its 80th sex offender for this fiscal year.
Good job.
Elliston says last fiscal year, it was 175 people were arrested, and the year before that, 152.
We're going to try to hit 200 this year. And we've also arrested almost 40 gang members so far this year. So yeah, we're still fully in public safety, national security, except now when we come across people who maybe are not the targets of those investigations, but are breaking the law by being here illegally, we're now arresting those people as well.
You wanted to listen to AOC. Now you can't go home. Now you got to go to Guantanamo Bay. Now you got to have the civil rights groups protest for your release. Wherever you was going, you can't go there today. It's over. You can't go home now. You can't go home. Listen, us over here in the Americas, we are no longer playing games with people that think that it's fun to just break the law, cross over into America, thinking that you got rights and that we supposed to abide by them. We busting windows out your car. We busting windows out the car. Real talk. Let me read some of these in Maryland. Beware. All these blue cities that think that they can do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. Nah, we not having that no more. Shout out to Rand Wilson, says, Big Four is back. Ice, ice, baby. Shout out to my dog Rand Wilson. I appreciate you on Cash App. Also, people that are participating, What in the World TV says, my brother has his own business, making a high six-figure. He still works as a firefighter just for the health insurance. Shout out to bro. He doing it the right way. Luther, this is Luther's janitorial service. And if you want to work for Luther's janitorial service, shout out to Set It Off. That was Cleo. And then they was trying to negotiate with Luther's janitorial service. I work in the West Texas. Oh, I thought you had a janitorial service, big dog. I work in the West Texas oil field, and I think drones are what my coworker and I have been seeing at night. So, yep, we got them drones up there. Ninja's about to catch a terrorism charge trying to be Big Meech, says AJ Wise. Jay Hunter Lee is in the building. Jay Hunter Lee says, removing y'all crazy in the chat. I love my chat. Removing crimes and chaos weekends the Democratic Party. This is why the black community has been trashed for decades. It kept them in power. I like that, Jay Hunter Lee. What in the World TV says, I have rights. We're not messing around with nobody. We're pulling everybody out their car. Damian Brown says, if you were president, what executive order would you sign on day one? We changing family court laws on day one. It don't even affect me. Executive order, family court laws. If you need child support is canceled. Matter of fact, child support is completely canceled all day long. If you can't afford to take care of your kid, then send him with the father. If you don't like it, then go back and get in the same household as the father. We're not incentivizing people to leave their families. Every policy on day one will be centered around making sure that we keep families together. Child support, wing, over. Day one, my first executive order is to remove and abolish child support altogether. We are going to start holding people accountable for who they open up their legs to and who you get pregnant. So if you don't want to get pregnant, you better vet. You better marry before you carry. You better vet. You better vet. You better vet. You had kids out of wedlock? Cut off, no child support. Anybody, the only way that you could possibly get child support is if you were a stay-at-home mother and you didn't have any job and you only can get it for a limited time because you still got to go to work. Otherwise, you need to give the kids to the father. If you had children out of wedlock, no child support whatsoever. You cut off. Anybody that have children out of wedlock, you're cut off completely. If you have children out of wedlock, you are cut off from, you cannot apply for child support. That is my first, I'm about to run for governor out here in these streets. I'm about to run for governor. When I run for governor of my state of Michigan, the first executive order that I'm doing is I am abolishing child support for people that have children out of wedlock. Yep. Watch me. The only way that you can get child support is if you're applying for it and you're the spouse that is the injured spouse, meaning that you make the least amount of money, but it can only be for a certain amount of time. If the children are already school age, then it's a possibility that we only gonna give it to you for 1 year because you should have a job by then. Somebody give me my office. Executive Order A. No child support for anybody out of wedlock. Somebody said, yeah, but what your mama gonna say about that, AD? My mama never had no children out of wedlock, and she didn't get divorced either. We don't have children out of wedlock. What do you mean? What am my mama gonna say about that? My mama had all her kids with my daddy. Daddy's home. Well, mama, what your mama gonna say about it now? What your mama gonna say about it? What your mama gonna say about it? What your mama gonna say about it? I never experienced a broken home, so I don't know anything about that. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions? All right. Somebody says, so you support deadbeat dads. I don't support deadbeat moms. How about that? Why you having children with a deadbeat dad? Why you having children out of wedlock? I'm trying to save you from yourself. See, here's the thing. If you know that you're not going to get no child support, then you're going to be more careful of who it is that you let jizz inside of you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, you thought that I wasn't thinking about you. I am thinking about you. No more trapping NBA players. No more trapping NFL players. No more trying to trap the guy that work at the plant. No more just saying out. No, you're going to start using contraception. We're going to have less children getting eliminated from Planned Parenthood. We're going to solve for everything. Everything is going to be solved for. We not going to have no more broken communities. We're going to start to fix the community. And the first way we're going to do it is in child support court. Yep. That is the first way that we're going to do it, is we're going to abolish it, and we're going to make sure that people get their life together. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Watch me do it. Watch, when I run for it, I'm going to do it for real. One day, when I'm done making all of my money out here in these streets, I'm going to run for governor and I'm going to fix this country. I'm going to make it the blueprint for every other state. All right? Don't feel bad. That was a phenomenal question. Phenomenal question, Damien. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's see. We got Dave G says, we not negotiating, we gushing. That's for real. We not gush. That's all we doing. All right, so you're not gonna gush. It's caving my chest in. Missed a lot of the building says they kept talking about breaking through the glass ceilings. Ice, I got y'all glass. I got your glass. Lab and Legacy says, about to get some Safe Light stock. How they out here gushing windows. Boy, we taking everything. Keys, Charles Keys Sr. says, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, $400 in DR for remote IT people. Ain't gonna be no more remote jobs. That's over. Jeremiah Wineglass says, Trump got more energy than me at 34. God bless. And let me tell you what else I'm gonna require for people to do. I'm gonna bring back, before you get married, you have to be tested for STIs and STDs. Before you get married, you got to test for STIs and STDs. Trump got more energy than me at 34. God bless. I agree. Ash says, let me give you a heads up. This is not time to be traveling to parts of South and Central America, Mexico, Venezuela, etc. Americans may be targeted for hate crimes due to mass deportations under Trump. That's a smart thing. They're not thinking about that. They think what they got boxelitis, Ash. Shout out to It is what it is. I appreciate you. Executive Suite MLE says, gotta go, big dog. Room 10 equal Guantanamo Bay. Gotta go. Mr. Lott says, if you run for office in Detroit, let me get an archdiocese seat. We got to run for governor because we got to make it a state law. You know what I'm saying? Dion Hendricks says 80 for president 2032. Maybe. What about Angry Man hating on KS? I didn't hear nothing about Angry Man hating on KS. I stay out of that nonsense. I'm focused on the bag. You know what I'm saying? I ain't focused on none of that other stuff. What in the World TV says DNA test at every birth, welfare cut off at every third child, and no more women coming back after 20 years talking about a lawsuit. Oh yes, statute of limitations is up. 392Q in the building says, the reason why most people have kids out of wedlock is carelessness and thinking the government will support them their whole life. What do you think what you think about marriage laws? I will revise all of that. I will also have it to where marriage is not forever. Marriage is a renewable thing. It's renewable after a certain amount of times. Okay, so every year or every 2 years, you go back and you evaluate whether or not, and that way we eliminate all of the extra costs and the lawyer costs and all of that stuff. You have to renew your marriage license similar to how you renew your driver's license. Shout out to TN84. I'm going to change everything. So is it AD for governor of Michigan in 2032? Probably. Sundeer? Probably. I'm changing all of these laws that's requiring for people to be getting finesse and fleece. Everything around family court laws, that's what my first month in office is going to be around, is dismantling everything around mandatory testing of birth, mandatory DNA for every child that's born, renewable marriage licenses in order to remove all of the family court laws and them finessing you, no child support for children made out of wedlock, all of that. Everything is going to be dismantled, and we getting there. We going to get there. Anyways, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, y'all, because I just dropped the video today. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.